So what is the management of recruitment, management of skill, cost of skill? On this person, the company invested 1 lakh rupees for training and development. The value of the machine is 1 lakh rupees. Every year I will deduct 10,000 rupees as a depreciation. Asset at a historical concept or cost concept. What is the cost concept says? The principles of accounting. Hello my dear students, I am Rajay sir, faculty, Department of Commerce and Management, Vidhyashram First Aid College, Mysuru, a temple of excellence. My dear students, in today's session I am going to handle the subject Corporate Accounting 2 for 4th Sem BCom, and the topic is Human Resource Accounting. My dear students, Human Resource Accounting is very important and very interesting subject and topic here. So what do you mean by human resource? So human resource not only just physically or physical human beings, but their skills, their talent, their development, their goals. So as a human resource we will be having a inclusive goals to achieve. And next one, training. What is the cost of training? And after that we have to retain the human resource in the benefit. What are the benefits we will provide to the human resource? Next one, recruitment. What do you mean by recruitment? So recruitment means encouraging more number of people to apply for the job. So encouraging more number of students or any aspirants to apply for the job. This is the process of recruitment. Next one, what is the skill? So what type of skill? So how to develop skill? So are they skilled while before recruiting, before selecting? So what is the cost of providing skill or enhancing the skill? And what is the cost of recruitment? So what is the management of recruitment, management of skill, cost of skill? Next one, talent. So what is the same type of talent? What is the cost of talent? So to bring new talent to the business, what is the cost of it? So like that. And also development, to develop the or provide the training to the current employees, what is the cost of it? And also next one, goals. So how to treat these things, how to give the goals to the our human resource, existing human resource, and how to get things done with a satisfied way, with a skillful way. Next one, training. Also training, I explain what is the cost of training in order to bring the new technologies. And also we have to, thus employees has to adjust to the dynamic environment. So we have to bring the changes, we have to provide the training. What is the cost of it? So how to treat those things in the books of accounts, how to treat those things in the books of account is the actual concept of the human resource accounting. So why now we understood the human resource. What do you mean by human resource accounting? So calculating what is the actual cost of all these things, calculating the cost of all these things and how to show in the balance sheet. See, human resource, for example, how we can treat human resource as an asset, because we cannot know what is the concept. Valuation of concept says in accounts only money measurement concept. Money measurement concept says only which is measurable in terms of money should be shown in the books of accounts. Money measurement concept says only which is measurable in terms of money can be recorded in the books of accounts, which is cannot be recorded, which cannot be recorded in the books of account, we cannot show in the books of accounts. So human resource, how we can calculate what is the actual cost. For example, asset will be depreciating. We know the actual value of the asset, we know the actual production price of the asset, actual production cost of the asset, we know the profit, we know the loss, we know depreciation for machinery, building and any other things. But in case of human resource, how to calculate whether it is appreciation or depreciation? So how to calculate the human resource? Do we have any mechanism to calculate the human resource to measure in terms of money? So for example, my teaching skill, can you measure in terms of money the skills of human resource? And day by day my skill will be improving. Same times day by day my skills may not improve. So on what mechanism, on what basis we can measure the human resource? If we could not measure the human resource in terms of money, how we can show it in the balance sheet, in the books of accounts? Yes, human resources are assets to the company, but if we cannot measure the asset in terms of money, can we show it in the balance sheet? Are there any mechanism to calculate the human resource? Yes, we are having so many measures, so many mechanism to calculate the human resource. Let's see here. See, as a result of various studies conducted by different experts in the areas of accounting and finance, a new branch of accounting known as human resource accounting has come to existence. So before, in earlier accounting terms, in the history, we could not convert, or we could not consider human resource as an asset in the business. We were just keeping it as an expenses. We are not considering as a asset, but we were treating human resource as an expenses, paying salaries and expenses to the company. Paying salaries and expenses to the company. It was showing in the profit and loss account, but we were not showing it in the balance sheet. But nowadays, because of technological advancement and research, so many research happened in the accounting industry, we come up with the conclusion that human resources are not expenses, human resources are asset to the company. Now, human resource is the process of identifying. So we have to we have to select the best human resource, best quality and quantity, who is having best skill. We have to identify the employee who is having the best skill in the world, the best, it may be physically, mentally, performance and personality. From every perspective or from every aspect, we have to identify and measuring. So we have to calculate skill, unskilled or semi-skilled. So what is the actual skill? On the base of his skill, on the base of his performance, on the base of so many other aspects, we have to make some division. So on what basis we can segregate as skillful and not skillful? Even though, for example, I can give you an example. Day before yesterday, I read in newspaper, a woman, she was a scavenger, but today she is an IRS officer. A week or months before, she was a scavenger, she was doing cleaning work, but today she is an IRS officer. So on what basis we can immediately, after 2 to 3 months, she has become IRS officer, she has cleared some exam and become IRS officer. So on what basis we can improve the skills of, can we take it as an appreciation? What is the value of scavenger? What is the value of IRS officer? So on what basis, even though she was having skill, but she was treated as a scavenger, even though she was having so much of skills. So there we could not measure her skill. But once she has become the IRS officer, immediately her monetary value has been improved. So on what basis we can treat them, their skill, in the books of accounts? That is the very, very important and very difficult concept. So we have to measure the human resource. Next one, data and also data of the human resource. So we have to measure the data of the human resource. Next one, and communicating the information. We have to transfer the information to the management. Where management will take decisions on so many aspects to in order to bring the effective in the management, in order to improve the management and business. Next one, human resource is an attempt to identify. So identify means selection and recruitment and report investment made in human resource. What are the investment? So for selection we need cost, for recruitment we need expenses, isn't it? We need funding. Next one, to provide training, to provide and also maintenance of human resource, to provide good or quality food and other facilities for the human resource. So these are all needs funding, these are all needs finance. So how we can, for example, in accounts, in finance, so we will calculate whether it is profitable or loss. So what is our investment, what is our return? So is our return is more than our investment on the human resource? So we have to calculate. For example, I will give you one more example. A person appointed, Mr. A appointed in some company, Mr. A appointed in some company. The company has invested in Mr. A, company invested in Mr. A for development and training, 1 lakh rupees invested by the company on person. On this person, the company invested 1 lakh rupees for training and development. After getting training, after he developed his skill, so if that person retains in that business, yes, company will get the investment back. But after within 3 or 6 months of training, if that person moving to other company or going to other company, resigning in our company, is our investment, are we getting in our investment back at least, not even profit? So how do you calculate asset as this human resource as an asset? So because the machinery is with us only till the end of its till it's become zero, till its value becomes zero. Building will be with us only for 10 years, 20 years. We can measure the life of the building, we can measure the life of the machinery. But in case of human resource, can we measure the life of the human resource? On what basis we can measure the human resource? We have some mechanism. Let's discuss here. Next one, basically it is a information system that tells the management what changes over time are occurring to the human resource. On the base of aggregate value, on the base of aggregate value, we can do some calculation. So for example, we can do individually, we cannot do individually. So many years this person can be with us in the organization. We cannot measure individually, but as a group we can calculate. For example, in 100%, if we recruit 100%, how many employees we can retain? So what is the cost of development? What is the cost of retaining? What is the cost of improvement? These things we can take as in a group value. Next one, organizations are presently not accounted for an conventional accounting practice. In the olden period of practice, we could not calculate, or we cannot measure in terms of money in the books of accounts. Next one, in simple words, human resource accounting is an art. That's why it is, I'm telling, it is an art and science. It is very difficult thing to measure the human resource. It is not like machinery, building and other things. We can measure the life of building, machinery and other things. On the basis of that, we can, if I invest 10 lakh rupees, yes, I can sell this for 20 lakh rupees in future. I can get this much of benefits. We can measure, but in case of human resource, it is not measurable. So next one, valuing. We have to value on the basis of skills, on the basis of their performance. We have to value the human resource. Record, we have to write in the books of accounts. Next one, presenting to the higher authority, higher management to take the proper decision systematically. It is a process. It is not one day activity, 2 day activity. It is a continuous process. Throughout the year, we have to calculate the worth of human resource in books of accounts of an organization. So thus, there are 3 important aspects of human resource accounting. What are those? First one, we have to value the human resource. Without valuing, how? On the basis of so many mechanism what we are having, we have to value the human resource. Next one, record the, so we have to mention, or we have to maintain the books of account. What are the expenses? What are the valuation? What actual the price of the human resource to acquire and retain. Next one, disclosure of information. We have to provide the information for related parties. It may be higher authority, government and other human resource management parties. We have to provide the information. Next one, historical cost approach. What is my historical cost approach? So already I explained you, on the base of so many mechanism we have come up with so many mechanism to calculate the value of human resource. What are those? This approach was developed by Brumet, Flamholtz and Paley. According to this approach, the actual cost incurred on recruiting, selecting and hiring, training and developing the human resource of the organizations are capitalized and written off in a future in a useful manner. Therefore, for example, let's take 10,000 rupees for expenses of recruitment, 10,000 rupees for example for 10 employees. So let's calculate the 10 employees, recruitment, selection and other process. So this is for recruitment, selection, 10,000 rupees we have spent. Next one, hiring and training. So training, we have spent 10,000 rupees training. Next one, and development, other related maintenance activity, 10,000 rupees. So total cost of this human resource is 40,000 rupees. 40,000 rupees. So we will record this 40,000 rupees, and in future we will reduce the balance as those 10 employees keep on moving away from the company or joining other company, we will deduct the amount. We will deduct the amount as a depreciation or as a written off. As a written off, we will deduct the amount on this basis. This is called as historical concept. So what are the advantages and disadvantages or merits or demerits? Let's see. This method as following merits. What are those? The method is simple to understand and easy to work out. This is very simple. So we will add all the expenses and we will keep it, or we will show it as a, this is the cost of, or this is the cost of the asset, and in future later on every year we will reduce or we will return off the balance. Next one, the method follows the traditional accounting concept of maintaining the cost and revenue, cost with revenue. So what is the actual cost we invested and what is the benefit we got? This is the old method of accounting. Next one, the method can provide the basis of valuing firm's returns on its investment of human resource. So what is the return we get? So our expenses is 40,000. If we invest 40,000, what we get returns for 1 year? What is the return for 1 year? What is, for example, we have to pay salary for them, maintenance salary. So every year we have to pay 1 lakh rupees salary. So can we get more than 1 lakh rupees? Whatever the benefit we got from that particular investment, that is the profit. So this is the return to the company. On this, like this, they will calculate the value. Next one, what are the limitation? So this method takes into account only the part of acquisition cost employees. It does not consider the aggregate value of their potential service. Already explained you. So it is very difficult to calculate the actual value of the human resource. I gave you the example of scavenger and IRS officer. So day before yesterday she was a scavenger. Today she is a IRS officer. So can you expect? So can you value their actual skill? No. But we just only calculated the actual value or whatever the amount spent by the company to select and recruit and training, but we could not value their actual potential, actual skills of the employees. So this is the biggest drawback. Next one, it is difficult to estimate the or provide over which the human resource will provide service to the organization. It thus creates a problem in determining the amount to be amortized over a year. So we don't know. For example, 10 years, the life of the asset is 10 years. I purchase a machinery and I can calculate, I can expect the life of the asset is 10 years. The value of the asset is 1 lakh rupees. The value of the machine is 1 lakh rupees. Every year I will deduct 10,000 rupees as a depreciation. Every year I will deduct the depreciation 10,000 rupees. At the end of 10 years, the amount will be 0. So can we do this to the human resource? No. Every day human resource skill will be improving. On what basis we can measure the skill? On what basis we can measure the performance? So it is very difficult. Though this is one of the biggest limitation of this approach. Next one, the value of human resource assets according to this method goes on decreasing every year due to amortization. However, reality, the human resource value will be increasing. So in this asset method, actual historical concept method, the actual cost of the asset, acquiring, training and everything is 1 lakh rupees. Every year you will deduct the depreciation as compared to other asset. It is like other asset will deduct the depreciation. Ultimately, one day after 10 years it will become 0. It will become 0. In case of assets, it may be building, or it may be machinery, it may be any other asset. But in case of human resource, every day as my experience increases, as I am getting training, my skill will be improving, my knowledge will be improving. So on what basis we can reduce the asset? It is a opposite. As I getting perfection, so my skills are improving day by day. I am getting so much of knowledge. I am getting so much of training, experience. Experience makes man perfect, isn't it? The practice makes man perfect. Experience. When I get experience, I will become day by day strong in my work, isn't it? That's why this concept is not acceptable. This concept is not acceptable. Next one, replacement cost. What do you mean by replacement cost? For example, so this is person A, is person B. Okay, if this person leave the organization, so what is the cost to select other person? So replacement cost. We have to bring another person to his job. So what is the cost of selection? What is the cost of training? What is the cost of? So on the base of the existing person, we will calculate the other person's value. So we need same quality, same skill and same quality and same performance, which who can provide same performance employee. So on the base of this one, replacing cost will work out. So this approach is developed by the Rensins, Likert and Eric Flamholtz has developed this approach. This approach values the human resource at their present replacement, so not on the historical cost. So what is the actual present replacement? To bring new employee to this his position, what is the cost, what is the training? We have to provide the advertisement, we have to provide the in the TV or in newspaper, we have to provide the advertisement. After that, we have to do the recruitment process and other things, and also we have to provide the training to the new employee. We have to select the employee and we have to provide the training. What is the cost of it? So this on the basis of this cost, replacement cost, will calculate this thing. Next one, in other words, human resource of an organization are be valued on the basis of assumption. It is an assumption. We cannot exactly replace the same skilled person. He may be having more skill than this person. He may be having less skills than this person. So we cannot expect. So this person has worked 10 years. We cannot expect this person also work for 10 years. So he may leave within 1 year. So he may work more than 10 years. So we cannot, this method also having some merits and demerits. Let's see. So it is an assumption. What would be cost of the firm if the existing human resource are required to replace with other equivalent talent and experience? So what would be the other cost so incur to replace the existing workforce? Next one, what are the merits? This approach incorporate the current value of the firm's human resource. So in order to bring other employees on the base of the current ecosystem, current economy, on the base, for example, to bring one manager, it is we have to pay 1 lakh rupees salary to him. Okay, in the current world, every manager needs, so in that particular work, in that particular scale, we have to pay 1 lakh rupees only. So it takes present value of the human resource, not like historical cost. Okay, next one, the financial statement prepared accounting to this approach are more realistic compared to historical concept. Already told you, in historical concept, what would be the previous employees cost, maintenance cost, acquisition cost, we will compare it with the existing. But here replacement cost means what actual salary we are providing to the existing faculty. If we want to replace, what would be the difference? So on the base of actual information, we will do the account. That's why it is realistic in nature. Next one, it is almost impossible to ascertain correct replacement cost existing human resource, since there can be no complete replacement for them. So very difficult to bring same type of person. So all individuals are different. All performance, efficiency, effectiveness is different. It is very difficult to bring the same type of person with same skills and performance. Next one, what are the limitations? This method has following limitation. What are the method is at a variance with the conventional accounting practice of valuing asset at historical concept. So always our accounting concept says we should value the asset at a historical concept or cost concept. What is the cost concept says? The principles of accounting. Cost concept said we should always value the asset in its purchase price. But here the value will be changing. It keep on changing according to the current actual market price. That's why this value is not acceptable. Next one, it's almost impossible to ascertain correct replacement cost of existing human resource. So it is very difficult to replace the same type of employee who is having more skill. The previous employee may be having more skill than the current employee, but he may ask more salary. But previous employee, Mr. A, was doing the same duty which with more effectiveness and more skill, more performance for 1 lakh rupees. But Mr. B is asking for 1,50,000 rupees, 1,50,000 rupees for the same duty, for same performance. But he is not this much skill. He is not this much skill enough to same duty. But he is asking that much salary. So what is the replacement cost? We cannot bring the same type of person for the same salary. There is no objective way for determination of replacement cost. Personal prejudice do work. Moreover, there is no foolproof methods of verification of the replacement cost. So we cannot have any proof. We cannot have any actual documents. We cannot have any proof so that we have replaced the existing no faculty or existing human resource. On what basis, on what proof, on what documents we can say yes we have 100% replacement we can done. So it is very difficult. Next one, opportunity cost approach. What do you mean opportunity cost? What do you mean opportunity cost? So here for example, product A is there, product B is there. Product A is there, product B is there. If you want to select product B, you have to sacrifice product A. See for example, apple, orange. This is orange. Okay, orange. If you want to select orange, you have to sacrifice apple. If you select apple, you have to sacrifice orange. This is what opportunity cost. What do you mean opportunity cost? If you want to select this opportunity, what is the cost of this opportunity? Orange is the cost of selecting apple. Okay. If you want to select orange, what is the cost of this? Apple is the cost to select the orange. This is called as opportunity cost. If you want to select other opportunity, you have to sacrifice or you have to pay some cost. That is what opportunity. We have to leave or we have to sacrifice something in order to get other thing. That is what we are leaving. That is the cost of opportunity. So this is what opportunity cost. For example, if you want to select person A, we have to leave person B, isn't it? That is then the opportunity cost is B in case of A. So this approach has been suggested by the Hakimins and Joes. According to this approach, the value of an employee is determined according to this alternative use. So in case of employee has no alternative use, no value will be placed on him. So we have to use. So on the what basis we have to which with both the employee. So who has to be selected? So who has to be selected will be having different alternative use. He can also work as a cashier, as a manager, as a other duty. If you compare to this person, he can be work as a manager, but he will not as work as a cashier. But the opportunity cost we can go with this one. So when we have alternative use, this person having we can use him for alternative purpose as a manager also, as a cashier also. But this person only work as a manager, so we will go for this person. What is our opportunity cost? Mr. A is the opportunity cost for us, but he is having alternative use. This is the concept of alternative use. Next one, the approach suggests that competitive bidding process for the scarce employee in an organization. So that's what here. So because we are having a scarcity for cashier, we need both manager and cashier. We need manager and cashier because we cannot offer more amount to pay or to select one more cashier. So at the same time we need manager also, we need cashier also. So that's why we are selecting Mr. B, and whatever the cost incurred to or leave the A, that is the opportunity cost. Next one, it means that the opportunity cost is lined with a scarcity. So why we have scarcity of employees? So we need employee who can work for not only one duty has to perform, 2 to 3 or 4 duties or 4 members job he has to do. That's why we have selected. So we have scarcity for the employee, then we will go for opportunity cost. The opportunity cost of an employee or group of employees in one department is calculated on the basis of the offers, bids by other departments of those employees. So for example, we have 10 members here, like this 10 members, here 10 members. The opportunity cost will be calculated on the basis of the bids. So he will ask, see, I will do cashier job also. He will say, I can do both manager also I will work. I will work as a cashier. He will say one more, he will add one more bid. I will do work as a manager, cashier and other clerk also. He will do I will do not only manager, marketing manager responsibility I will take. I will take HR manager responsibility. I will take cashier responsibility will say. So as bid price, he will increasing the work for the same salary, for 1 lakh rupees salary. So they are showing, so in their application they are writing more work, more skills. So he is having more skill compared to him. He will say, no, I am having more skills compared to this person. I can work more. He will show more works. He will show more performance. So on the bid, so they both are bidding, isn't it? So that's why on the basis of bidding, we will select the employees. That's what opportunity cost. Next one, what are the merits? According to the authors of this approach, a bidding process such as this is a promising approach towards a more optional allocation of personnel, and B is quantitative basis of planning, evaluating and developing human resource. So when we get the humans who can perform more duties, more performance who can provide, so we can reduce the other costs. For example, if the manager do the cashier job also, we can training and development activities and recruiting and paying the salary of the cashier. We can save the salary of the cashier. If the manager doing the other manager job also, we can save that amount of salary which we are providing to the other clerical workers. That's why this opportunity cost is very, very important, and also it is easy for the company to, and also bidding process will help us to bring more resource people to the company. We can use them alternative usage. Next one, more optional allocation of personnel. So this give more optional means what? We will get more option. So we can make them work in so many departments. Same person can work in so many departments. We will get more options when we selecting the person. Next one, quantitative base. So quantitative means what? That's what. So one person can do so many jobs. So we'll get the quantitative workers for the development, evaluating and developing the human assets. So in the next session, we are going to discuss on standard cost approach, present value of approach, and importance of human resource accounting, and also objective of human resource accounting. Till then, thank you so much. See you in the next class.